welcome to another new episode of The Men with the Golden Tongues. I'm your host, Micah, joined by my co-host, Brad.
I'm going to the mat today for this film. It's happening.
And in the other corner, our special guest this week, Terrence.
What's up?
Today we are here to discuss the 24th film in the James Bond franchise, 2015's Spectre. Spectre was directed by Sam Mendes, and it stars Daniel Craig, Christoph Waltz, Léa Seydoux, and a host of a bunch of other people who are pretty good actors. All right, let's get to it. This film, I'll put my feelings out there. Put them out on the table right away, right? It's an okay film. It's not the best. It's nowhere near Daniel Craig's best, but it certainly isn't the worst. This is a solid James Bond film that I think appeals to Bond fans a little more than non-Bond fans.
Which I completely 100% agree with.
Is that what that is?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Terrence, you don't know the amount of winks and nods and homages to especially like the Connery era of Bond films that are littered throughout this movie that gives that little bit extra for Bond aficionados to check out for this film. And that's one of the reasons why I do enjoy it.
Okay.
It's a like I echo Micah's sentiments. And actually you have, I would argue, 4/5 of a good Bond movie, and then 1/5 of why did they put this last 30 minutes in this film? Please God, just wrap it up a little bit better.
I would argue they should have cut an hour out of this movie.
Well, that's also fair too. I'm not even going to argue
it's
with
a 2 hour and 30-minute movie.
It's too long. It is. I'll take the Micah chair this episode. It's too long. There's way too many
scenes where nothing happens.
Just exposition. Like so many scenes that
there are scenes where they don't say shit. It's just silence, and I'm like, you gonna do something or what? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, okay, was that your?
I mean, we'll kick it around.
Okay.
Why don't you like this movie? That's what I need to know.
Okay.
Why don't you like it?
All right.
So.
Look. I saw Skyfall. Like, that was the last one. That was the one right before this one, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I enjoyed it. The Skyfall was a very pretty movie.
Yeah.
And that kind of translated over to this one. Like, this one has some really nice shots of the different cities he's in. The cinematography is great. The acting is fine. Whatever. Like, it's nothing spectacular. The story is garbage. Like, it's boring. Like, I watched it again this morning, and I almost fell asleep multiple times, which I did in the theater as well. Like, I figured, hey, let me give it another shot to see if maybe there was something that the action sequence in the beginning was cool until he punched the pilot for no reason. I was like, why would you punch the pilot who's flying the helicopter?
Because he can fly the helicopter.
Yeah, he can, but like, nigga, yo, like, are you trying to I was like, are you trying to kill yourself? Is that what you? I mean, we'll get into it, but that shit didn't make any sense to me. And then there's a car chase that was terrible.
Well,
we'll get in. We'll
hit your points.
Yeah,
we'll hit your points as.
And I kept thinking of fuck. Okay, because he's got this thing with his face that really annoyed me. Like, his face constantly screams "Blue Steel" from Zoolander. You know, and it shit bothered me through the whole movie. I'm like, why does he keep pursing his lips like that? It's very bothersome. Cut it out. But anyway.
I think this movie suffers too because of it released after arguably the best, like the most well liked Bond movie. I would say among the new ones. Casuals, yeah,
right,
for sure.
Okay.
So
is one of your issues with the story the fact that this film came out after the Avengers, which was the high water mark for universes, right? Did this film bother you in that Well, I guess you didn't really see the other ones, right? Because what this film tries to do is say that Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace and Skyfall were all connected.
Yeah. Like they show that in the title
Right.
the
It
title
feels like
scene.
I don't know. It feels my one issue with the movie is that it feels like it was reactionary. You know, like, oh, hey, this whole, movies connected with each other thing. People really like that. Let's just kind of make that happen now. And
Plus,
it just,
what's her name was already she's dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Judi Dench. What's her character? M?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, of course it connects, but
I don't know. It just I'm
Well,
the
they
I'm
did-
the author of all your pain. Like,
Well, and so I'm obviously like, if you listen to this
yeah, and I
podcast,
like Christoph Waltz. I don't think he's that great an actor, to be honest with you.
yo, he's another Michael Fassbender as far as I'm concerned.
How dare you? How dare you?
How dare I? How dare I? Green Hornet is how dare I?
I've never seen Green Hornet. I don't ever intend to. Some people say I started the movie, but I don't necessarily believe them. I don't usually watch my own work though.
Like he's the same character in every fucking movie he's in. He is.
I like Christoph Waltz though.
He's
I
fine.
thought he was a fine. I thought he was a fine Blofeld. I did not need the connection between him and Bond to exist. Like that was completely unnecessary.
That was
Brothers,
stupid.
like,
or foster brother or whatever have you. Listen, we'll get into all that. That's one thing I do take definite issue with. But we should get rocking.
Yeah, Christoph Waltz was in Muppets Most Wanted, Horrible Bosses 2, The Legend of Tarzan. He's in Alita Battle Ant. Yo, he's the Michael Fassbender.
There's someone else in here likes Christoph Waltz also.
Yeah, he does.
We got two actors that
Go fuck yourself.
I will stand in solidarity with Jerry for Christoph Waltz love.
So,
he's won an Oscar.
yeah, he has. But so is Jamie Foxx. So,
I mean, but Ray was good.
so let's get this going. The film's opens up in Mexico City during the Day of the Dead festival.
Again, very pretty.
This opening sequence is fucking great.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
I thought it was pretty
Yes.
cool. I thought it was pretty cool up until the helicopter scene. Just kind of the actual helicopter, if I'm remembering this properly, didn't really look as good as I thought, as I wanted it to look. And I hate when people.
I thought it was it's a real helicopter, right?
What am I thinking of? This is while it was in flight, like there were certain shots that just didn't look right to me.
Was it green screen?
A real helicopter can't do all that stuff that they were doing with that.
I've seen
the
helicopters
film.
do fucking loop de loops in real life.
I don't know.
I
While I was watching that, I was like, "This seems pretty ridiculous." I'm simply comparing this though to the last time that we saw a helicopter in a Bond opening sequence, which, if you recall, which I believe For Your Eyes Only, with Roger Moore hanging on the side with fake Blofeld in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
So this is miles above that.
Yeah, I mean, look,
There's
if you're gonna compare, I mean, Jesus Christ,
right? They also did the. I also like they did the Tarantino shot at the beginning of the movie, where they did like the single take, that the long shot, which is very. I always like that. It's a very cool shot that takes a lot of coordination and things like that. I think it's a neat cinematography trick.
Yeah, some people don't like that. I don't mind it. It's showing off. Like, fine. If you got it, do it. So this
was one of those sequences where it was just. I mean, it was the Day of the Dead thing going on, but like no one said anything for like 10 minutes.
Oh, there is some ridiculous. So like, Bond goes to his hotel room and he's trying to assassinate an assassin, essentially trying to foil like a bomb stadium plot. Blows up the bomb, which collapses a hotel building somehow, because I guess in Mexico City all the buildings are made of brittle stone.
They're made of clay.
Yeah. I just like how so that happens, like this explosion happens in the middle of this giant like festival, and then they go a few blocks over. And it's as if no one has even heard the explosion.
Yeah,
the police are still manning the parade. Like, no one called the police to go respond to this fucking, to what for all they know is a terrorist attack.
I mean, I think that says a lot about what they think of Mexico.
A little racist.
I know that you did not care for. Did you like the scene? So, like, as the building that Bond is in gets like landed on by this collapsing hotel, and as he's falling down, he happens to just land on a couch, and he's just like, "Whoa!"
Look, I don't need that. I don't need that Roger Moore bullshit in my movie, man.
Yeah, I was
like, come on, man. I know you're trying to play it for laughs and all that, but maybe now's not the time for a gag. I don't know. It felt very Roger Moore-ish to me, and
It's not the only thing that feels very Roger Moore-ish in this film, as we will discuss later.
So it was like the Roger Moore movies just comedy.
They were very campy.
They were incredibly campy.
Very campy.
They were like the Adam West Batman series to me.
That is the closest comparison, honestly.
Because it does something at the end of the movie. I'm like, you know what? I'm about to walk the fuck out of this movie. Close to the end, I'm like, okay, all right, cool, whatever. Is that what these movies are about? Because they are, no thanks. Look.
So this whole scene is pretty cool. Bond is trying to grab this assassin. He's trying to take out this assassin. Eventually, the assassin's name is Marco Scaria, or Scaria, Sicario. His name is Marco Hitman, and he chases him through the festival. Eventually, Marco gets on a helicopter, and Bond is able to hop onto the helicopter, and this big struggle ensues, and I don't know, it just, for some reason, it didn't look the best to me, but Bond ends up killing the guy, and he flies away, right? Mm-hmm. Then we get to our opening our title credits, sung by Sam Smith.
I'm not here for your falsetto, Sam Smith. I'm not here for it at all.
See, this is one of the few things I liked about it.
Well, how is that possible?
I like the intro sequence.
I've been here before, but always hit the floor. I've spent a lifetime running, and I always get away. But with you, I'm feeling something that makes me wanna stay. If I risk it all, could you break my fall? How do I live? How do I breathe? When you're not here, I'm suffocating. I wanna feel love run through my blood. Tell me, is this where I give it all up? For you, I have to risk it all. 'Cause the writing's on the wall. A million shards of glass that haunt me from my past. As the stars begin to gather and the light begins to fade, when all hope begins to shatter, know that I won't be afraid. If I risk it all, could you break my fall? How do I live? How do I breathe? When you're not here, I'm suffocating. I wanna feel love run through my blood. Tell me, is this where I give it all up? For you, I have to risk it all. 'cause the writing's on the wall. The writing's on the wall. How do I live? How do I breathe? When you're not here, I'm suffocating. I wanna feel love, breath in my blood. Tell me, is this where I give it all up? For you, I have to risk it all. 'Cause the writing's on the wall.
It was fine. Like, so we are completely on the opposite spectrum of this bullshit ass movie. Like, look,
Holy shit.
I like Sam Smith.
That's cool.
I like Sam Smith. I don't like this song, and I don't know if it's the lyrics or if it's him singing it, but it just doesn't. It doesn't do it for me. I do like the visuals. The visuals make octopuses look pretty.
See, you like this. See, I enjoyed how, so like we talked about this in Skyfall. Skyfall, the film that takes the sequences of events in the film and lays them, but they do it in a very subtle fashion. This is not subtle. Like, they're literally taking shots from the movie.
Yeah,
this isn't Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Get that shit out of here.
I don't like that. I mean, I like the silhouetted parts. The the actual, like, I don't need the nose on the head. Like, here's Lashif, and one of the lyrics is something about all the different shatters of my, and I'm like, yo, it's right there. Like, this isn't very subtle.
Do you by the way, are you upset that they almost entirely in the movie, like, they're connecting these previous couple films together and they're talking about all these people. Dominic Green is barely given like a mention.
Yeah.
Like, he's never seen. I think Blofeld mentions him once.
I think there was, and I think I remember where you're, and they don't even mention him by name. They just say Quantum. Like, oh yeah, there was Lashif and Quantum and Raul Silva. Like, wait a minute, that dude's name wasn't Quantum.
Poor Dominic Green.
Man. The opening titles, I mean, they're not the worst. I don't hate Sam Smith. I just like it's a bit much, but it's Sam Smith. Like, I get.
So y'all were looking for subtlety in the intro, but not throughout the movie. I mean, there was no subtlety in this fucking movie at all.
I mean, that's kind of
that's what
James
makes the
Bonds
intro
are.
cool, though. That's why you look forward to the intro. Like when you have fucking like in Goldeneye, for example, you have iconography of like people knocking down like the hammer and sickle and stuff like that, because it shows the transition from the Cold War into like the modern era, because that's what the gap that was bridged between the two films. That's the kind of stuff I like. I love a Bond film that you see the film, and then when you go back and look at the title sequence, you're like, oh, that's what that was connected to, and that's connected. This one, it's just like, here's what's going to happen in the movie, guys. Like, enjoy.
Yeah, this one is great. This one is, hey, here's a silhouette of what's his face. Here's a silhouette of, what the fuck is the dude's name? The villain. What the fuck? No, his actor's name.
Oh, Christoph Waltz.
Yeah, here's a silhouette of Christoph Waltz, and with octopus tentacles coming from it. Oh, I wonder who that is. I wonder who, like, it just, I don't know. But at the same time, like, I thought it was a pretty looking shot. Like, I'm
not saying the shot isn't pretty looking. I'm just saying that, like, I don't need the overt references to future events in the film.
Yeah.
Even though yes, you do go in, like, anyone that was going to see this movie knew that, even though they were playing coy, that Christoph Waltz was going to be Blofeld, right?
Yeah.
But still,
it's the worst kept secret in the world. Part of me is just like, don't even keep it a secret, right? Like, I don't know.
Right, just advertise it.
Yeah, just advertise it. So, maybe people who were lapsed James Bond fans will flock to it. Like, oh, hey, I remember fucking Blofeld.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I saw him, he was falling out of a helicopter into a smokestack.
But I remember when I first saw this movie, like when they showed the picture of the previous villains, I'm like, oh, I bet you everything's all connected now. Like, and again, they did that in the previous, like the Connery films had Spectre as this overarching thing, but they referenced them during the other movies. Like this one, it's like they retconned it almost.
Yeah,
the way that they told the story.
Yeah. So right before James Bond threw Marco out of a helicopter, he saw that ring on his finger and was like, "What you got on my ring, homie?" And just stole it, right? And then pushed him out of a helicopter, right? He goes back to London and he meets with M, and they have the requisite, M is, trying to give James Bond a dressing down, and James Bond is just like, whatever, yo. Like I know what I am. No, okay. I've been here before. I know the routine. Yes, thank you for the holiday or whatever. I'm out. And M is upset because once again, the whole spy in the field thing is too old fashioned. Again, even though they've kind of proved its usefulness in the previous film, but no, it's still too old. Surveillance is the thing now. Surveillance, like I can have watchdog, cameras all over the place, and I can do everything. Like it's all technology. Technology is where it's at, and this old dog shit from the last movie is not going to work. So they bring in. We get introduced to Max Denby, codename C, aka Jim Moriarty from Sherlock.
I'm gonna say if you're gonna like you introduce this character and you get the guy that played Moriarty in Sherlock, and you're like, oh, he's evil.
Right, he's the bad guy.
Yeah, I looked at when I first saw him, like, okay, well, I don't even know who that is. So I was like,
but he's an asshole. Like
yeah,
he looks
just
evil.
Looks like a smug. He's like British Giovanni Ribisi. That's what he looked like to me. I was like, he's got a brother. Okay, yeah, he's clearly the bad guy, and I didn't even know it. And when I saw him, I'm like, okay, cool, fine. What is he going to do?
So he is the head of the Joint Intelligence Service, which consists of the recently merged MI5 and MI6 branches. C also wants to create the Nine Eyes Intelligent Cooperation Agreement between 9 countries and close down the 00 program in one fell swoop. So basically, he wants to get all these other countries to commit to this whole watchdog thing.
What would that look like if the FBI and CIA merged together in the U.S.? That's basically the equivalent of what this is
now.
Essentially, yeah.
Like I kind of need it to happen now, but then I kind of need them to go away again after they do what they need to do. But I don't want to date the movie, the episode. So Bond goes and talks to Moneypenny, and he's like, "Hey, Moneypenny, I need you to do me a solid." He's like, "Meet me at my place." And Moneypenny's like, "Oh." And she goes and she's like, "Hey, I got a job for you. I need you to do." And she's like, "Oh." And then we get a Bond being escorted by Tanner to Q. We get a Q scene.
Yeah.
And is this the first like traditional Q scene for Daniel Craig?
I mean, you don't count the one in the other in Skyfall, I guess.
No, because there's no
there's no laboratory. Okay,
yeah.
That's fair. They have a very different relationship though than Bond and Desmond Llewellyn's Q.
Yeah,
had. I mean, the difference in ages would inform that, but it's kind of weird that like Bond is now like can use Q to kind of like, hey, cover for me, hey, keep the secret, hey, like help me out here, like hey, do this for me. And Q's like, yeah, okay. Why would Q fucking?
Well, and it's not even like Q is like, yeah, okay. It's like, I really don't know about this, James. And then Bond is like, no, you're going to do this shit. And it's just like, oh, because I never really pictured Q as meek. Like Desmond Llewellyn was never meek. He was like, don't touch that. That's my lunch. Like I can't imagine this new Q. Like, excuse me, Mr. Bond. Do you think that you cannot take the car that doesn't belong to you? It's for 009, please. And it's just like, nah, yo. Like, get out of here. Get out of my face.
I don't like that. Talking about the young Q.
Yeah.
So,
by the way, 009 always the one getting shit on when James Bond's when James Bond's flying off the handle.
It's always 009. And what I wanted to see so badly, I really wanted to see, because later on, James Bond, of course, takes the car that is meant for 009, right? And you see the back of the head of 009 as he comes to look for the car. Yeah. I desperately wanted that to be like Idris Elba or somebody, you know what I mean? Just to piss certain people off, like, what the fuck? Like, Idris Elba's a 00 in this, but he's not 007, so calm the fuck down. And then if, gauging the reaction, maybe we could have a whole offshoot of Agent 009 movies. But 009 doesn't sound right.
No, it really does not sound right at all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why does 007 sound so good?
Because that's the established thing.
Yeah, it's just established. Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, I was about like 7. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I'm 003. What? 003? Like, it just doesn't sound right.
I still do like Q shows him the car and he's like, supposed to be yours. He's like, but then you went in with the Mexico. Now 009's gonna get it. He's like, but I do have a watch. And like he hands him the Seamaster and he's like, does it do anything? It tells the time.
I like their little relationship, man. I really do. Because it's different. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, we've had 19 films of Bond being respectful to respectful, ranging from respectful to reverential. Like, it's a nice little shakeup that I don't mind.
I like that Seamaster too.
Yeah, I know you do.
That's the retro one that they pulled back out later. So
Q must have went to Wakanda for this technology, because he has this technology called smart blood.
He took it. He brought it back from the future, from Star Trek Into Darkness,
right,
and incorporated it into today.
So they can always track 007 no matter where he is, and 007 comes up to him and he's like, "Look, bruh, I'm gonna need a couple days to myself." And he was like, "Well, the smart blood doesn't work for 24 48 hours." It was just fun. It was just funny. So all right, James Bond's got a timetable, right? He's got 48 hours to do what he's got to do. He goes to Rome, which that is the cleanest I've ever seen Rome look. Ever. I've been to Rome. It is pretty dirty. It's a dirty city. It's just literal all over the place. City. It's very old, and nobody picks up after themselves.
I wonder why that is.
It looked gorgeous in the film.
Every
shot they had looked amazing.
Shot looked great. I was like, wow, this is no kind of Rome I've ever been to. But it is a pretty shot. So he's in Rome, and he goes to the funeral of the hitman, because Judi Dench, before she died, left some
left a
message.
vlog for him.
Yeah,
a vlog to check
she was just like, check this out. Like, make sure you go to the funeral. So James Bond is in Rome. He's in the funeral. He meets.
So wait a minute. What's the time frame after this that he gets this video?
He says in the film that he got the video shortly after she died, and then he's been tracking Scar for I think he said 6 months.
So what I assumed is that the video came with, because in Skyfall she left him a box of personal effects, right, one of which was that god awful looking bulldog.
My wife really wants that bulldog, by the way. It's like $200 because it's fucking Royal Dalton, but I'm like, nah, we ain't get that bulldog for $200.
And I figured it was that, because you see the bulldog on the desk. So I'm like, all right, well, this video came with those personal effects and the things that she wanted him to have. So, okay, that makes sense. Like as long as it makes some sort of sense, and they didn't have to spell it out. You know what I mean? If you've seen the previous film, you know. If you don't, then you just got to go with it, right? So he goes to Rome, and he's at the guy's funeral, and he meets Lucia, played by Monica Bellucci.
I didn't know her character's name. It's just Monica Bellucci. He meets Monica Bellucci.
Yeah, he meets Monica Bellucci.
Now they build her as one of the two like female leads in the film, in the promotion.
She was in the
movie
movie for 3 minutes.
She was in 2 scenes.
Yeah, yeah. I thought she was, because you know how it's usually the good Bond girl who fights with him, and the bad Bond girl who is always there,
or might be good, but she just exists to die to give him like motivation for later in the film.
Right. She was there for 2 scenes, which kind of sucked because I wanted to see more of Monica.
Well,
Bellucci.
so the big thing that they had
a lot more.
Yeah.
You killed him, didn't you? My husband.
He was an assassin. Trust me, he won't take it personally.
You signed my death warrant. I was respected.
Loyal to a man you hated.
He trusted my silence. With him gone, I'm a dead woman. I can trust nobody.
I know the feeling well.
Well, I can tell you that I don't trust you.
Well, then you have impeccable instincts.
If you don't leave now, we'll die together.
I can think of worse ways to go.
Ben, you're obviously crazy, Mr.
Bond. James Bond.
These people, if you just knew what they could do, the power they have.
Did your husband ever mention the Pale King?
No. The organization. They hardly ever meet. But because of what happened to my husband, they meet tonight.
Why?
To choose a replacement.
Where?
The Palazzo Cartezza. Midnight.
Sounds like fun. I might drop by.
He was obsessed. He spent more time with them than with me.
And then the man was a fool.
The big reason that they were promoting her is because this was the first time that they've ever had a Bond woman, that's been the same age basically as James Bond, or older than James Bond even in this case, because I think Monica Bellucci is a little bit older than Daniel Craig as well.
Yeah.
So they were making a big point about the fact, like, look, we don't just cast 27-year-old actresses.
We cast hot actresses. I don't give a damn how old they are. You just can't be ugly. That's the message that the producers are sending out to the world. You can do anything as long as you're pretty. So Lucia tells Bond about the criminal organization to which her husband belonged, and that they were meeting that evening after he and they're meeting that evening because they don't meet often, but when one of their people dies, like, all right, well, I guess we gotta.
Well, they need a new assassin,
right?
They need to nominate a new guy, basically,
right? So Bond is able to pump her for information,
and drop a Felix Leiter name drop, which is nice considering we haven't seen Jeffrey Wright for 2 films now. Nice to know that he's still around doing stuff. So.
Yeah, I kind of thought that there might have been a scene with him, but that's fine. We get to see Monica Bellucci in a very sexiful outfit.
Did we?
Very briefly.
She's on the bed in like corset. So
yeah. Just right there. 37 minutes.
Like this. So this is a thing in these movies.
Yeah.
Like they were at the funeral, then he kills 2 people that was about to kill her or whatever, and then they just start talking. and like she just gets undressed. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
It's the male power fantasy that is James Bond. Like he
Shit
can
was stupid.
That's the only way he knows how to get
I was like,
information.
what the fuck is, like he didn't do anything. Like granted,
He's James Bond. That's literally all that's required.
this movie suffers from the Dark Knight Rises or whatever the fuck. What's the last movie? What was the last-
Rises, yeah.
That's what this movie is. It is. It's like because he's James Bond.
Yes.
That's why anything
I
happens.
mean, to be fair, they've had 23 previous movies establishing that all he has to be is James Bond.
These movies. If that's what this is all about, I don't like any of them.
He says some clever things to
He didn't even say nothing clever.
Oh, he clues her
What
in
did he say?
that.
What did he say?
He talks about he's a life insurance agent. Do you have life insurance? Because I hear you might need it. How can you say that? Because I'm going to have sex with you. That's how.
Okay.
this
movie is just a movie of convenience.
She's like, all you did was buy me like an hour. And he's like, that's all the time I need. Let's go.
Shit was unacceptable. So like, this is okay, fine. So and the dialogue isn't good in this movie either.
I mean,
It's not. It isn't.
I mean, I think it's fine. Look, whatever you got to say to get Monica Bellucci undressed is that's the dialogue that I need to know. I saved your life. You owe me. Is basically what he did. And look, that's what James Bond does, man. Like he saves a chick's life, and it's just like he holds it over her. That's what he does, yo. He's an asshole. Make no bones about it.
That is one thing this show has established over the past 24 episodes, is that James Bond is a dick.
Yeah, man. Make no bones about it. He is a fucking first class grade A dick in every sense of that word.
See, this is why you don't want Idris Elba. Do you want him tainted by the personality of James Bond that he's going to have to be? Do you?
I don't give a fuck if he's James Bond or not. Apparently, I just do not enjoy this series, and I've only seen like 4 of them. And there's like 90. How many? 24.
This is the 24th one.
Yeah, no thanks. Just white dude doing all kind of stupid shit. I'm good.
It is the original Impossible White Man movie.
Yeah, I guess so.
It is. It's the originator.
So this shit wasn't entertaining.
Die
at
Hard
all.
refined it, but this was the template. So
Like this shit really wasn't entertaining. Like I was very upset about this movie.
Was it not enough action for you? Because we're about to get into one of these one big action beat that I think I would agree with you. So he gets the information from Monica Bellucci's character about the meeting place. I don't know why she would know it, but if I was
for the same reason that they wanted to kill her.
Yeah,
she probably had a lot of information, pillow talk, that sort of thing that was passed on.
Yeah, I would have, if I was Spectre, I would have killed Marco then, because what are you doing talking to your wife about our super secret evil organization bent on taking over the world? That's not something you tell your spouse. But see, like he was being a good husband, because that's how you're supposed to talk to your spouse.
Gotta keep the lines of communication open.
That's right. No secrets, man. Secrets. That's how you kill a marriage. Like, honey, I'm getting ready to go to my world domination meeting. I'll be back in 2 hours. Got to check in. Bond enters the meeting, and by showing the ring that he lifted off of the dead body, the guy's a fucking grave robber.
He wasn't dead when he took the ring from him.
He
was still alive
took
when
it
that
off
happened.
his arm before he took it off his finger before he
He's
threw him out of
just
a plane.
thief.
Right.
He's a no run-of-the-mill thief.
And so
Why did he take his ring in the first place?
It was a clue. That's the lead. What? Yeah.
Yo, hold up. So he's like, yo, that's a nice ring. Like you said. Like you just saw the ring, was like, oh, that's
He
that's
saw
dope.
the little octopus. He's like, that's cool looking. I might want this for my
Yeah,
personal
I'm gonna
collection.
snatch this before I throw you out of this fucking helicopter.
Why would an evil organization give such
While they brand themselves.
Again, because he's James Bond. Oh,
A
that's
question
cool
that could
looking
also
ring.
be asked in Thunderball as well.
Yeah, like I just
Speaking of Thunderball, by the way, did you enjoy the direct homage to the meeting scene from the beginning of that. That was very cool.
I loved it. So, all right. Bond's in this meeting. He sneaks his way in. He's like, I got the Dakota ring. Like, let me through, right? And the guy's like, all right, get your ass up there. And we see this big ass table, right? And there's this one guy talking, and all of a sudden, Blofeld comes in. We don't know it's him because he's silhouetted, but he looks, sounds, and acts just like fucking the dude whose name I can't remember. Christoph Waltz. And all of a sudden, one of the guys is like, "Hey, I don't. What do you say? Like, I think I could do this better."
So he was like, "I'm going to be the new like Spectre assassin, and we won't have any more fuck ups because I'm the man. I'm going to go fucking kill the Pale." Like Bond's trying to find this guy named the Pale King. He doesn't know who the guy is, but they're trying. Spectre's trying to kill him.
Right. And this new guy steps up and he's like, I'm going to be the assassin because Marco was a fuck up. He told his wife all about this shit, right? and I don't get no pussy, so you ain't got to worry about that, right? And all of a sudden, I think one of the South African dudes is like, anybody got a problem with that? And all of a sudden, fucking Batista's music comes on, and he comes in.
What's he doing here? He doesn't work here.
And all of a sudden, South African guy's like, "All right, Dave, what's your credentials?" And then he proceeds to beat the shit out of the guy who stepped up and picked him up. And all of a sudden, JR was like, "By God, he's gonna poke his eyes out!" And all of a sudden, fucking Mr. Hinks, that's his character's name, he bam, pokes his eyes out, and it's just like, oh shit! Like,
and then he snapped his fucking neck.
Yeah, broke his neck. Yeah.
Damn, nigga,
that's a good. That's
really extreme.
It's a good resume.
Yeah, I guess so.
I like your CV. Like that's really
that's a cool like Bond henchman gimmick.
Yeah,
new
to poke your eyes out with.
Well, he had like the metal. He had like the metal, the thing, the deals
metal,
on them.
Yeah,
but again, that's another Bond trademark. Is you always have a henchman that usually has some sort of
physical
deformity or some sort of quirk,
some sort of gimmick, some sort of gimmick henchman.
Okay.
I mean, would you prefer that or a dude who literally has teeth made of metal? That's like a 7'5" giant.
To me, it's the same goddamn thing. Like, so did he have his fingernails removed and have like metal nails put on them?
It's not clear.
It doesn't say. They don't really expound.
It's just a dude.
They don't really.
Just a big dude.
I do enjoy henchmen whose gimmick is a little more pronounced. You know what I mean? Like Tee with the hook hand, or like you said, Jaws with the metal mouth. But I remember seeing interviews with Dave Bautista, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm a big James Bond fan." And Sam Mendes, the director, is like, "Yeah, you want to be in this movie?" And he's like, "Well, I asked Sam, is he smart? Because I want to play an intelligent guy."
Sam was like, "Sure you do, Dave."
Right, yeah.
Sure you do.
Okay, Dave, yeah. Mr. Hinks is really smart.
Yeah, he's really smart. You only have one word to say in the film, but he's really smart, I assure you.
Like, I want to be a badass, but I want to be really intelligent too. Like, all right, just like you then, right? So, we see Mr. Hinks kill that guy, right? And Christoph Waltz's character is like, "Oh, hey, that's pretty cool, isn't it, James?" Like, James Bond is like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, James, I see you, even though I'm not. I know you over there. That's how badass I am. I'm just looking dead at this dead motherfucker right here next to Dave Bautista, and I know that you up there. Watch, bam, there you go. I see you." And Bond is like, "Oh shit, I've been made." So he beats up a couple guys. He gets to his Aston Martin DB10.
He jumps out of second floor. He parkours out of a second floor window, and it's kind of like
his parkour skills were firmly established in the Casino Royale.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that at all.
I mean, he out parkoured the guy who invented parkour. So I'm perfectly fine with all of that.
like a 20-foot drop. That's cool. Whatever.
So
it is
Fine.
So Mr. Hinks, Mr. Hanks gets into a Jaguar CX-75, and we get a chase scene. Now, first, I'll go to Brad first. What do you think about this chase scene? What would you rate it?
So it's. I mean, it's definitely not among the best,
Certainly not.
for sure. But see, the reason that I will defer from the two of you on this scene is because I do not mind some humor injected into my James Bond, even if that humor is very overt.
And look, the humor that you are talking about, I don't have a problem with, but I think I echo Terrence's sentiments when I say that it didn't even feel like a car chase. It just felt like
Some pretty shots that had
it
cars
felt like
in
a
them.
car
It was a car
commercial.
commercial.
Yeah, it felt like a car
I'm
commercial.
like, look at these two beautiful cars running through completely empty streets.
running through completely
Nigga, what the
empty
fuck?
streets,
What kind of chase has empty streets? Where they
slamming.
don't have any kind of they don't hit
I
nothing.
mean, it's like 1 in the morning in Rome. Like they
I
do
don't
establish
give a
that at least.
Yo, ain't no
so.
people walking around.
and they
It's
do,
fine.
and that's the thing. They do hit a couple things, and the cars are still
Yeah.
pristine.
They were playing fucking.
They
what
were
was
playing
it?
Gran Turismo
Yes.
because Gran Turismo, you're not allowed to have damage on the cars.
I was like, yo, this chase is terrible. I remember watching it in the movie that I'm like, yo, there's no suspense to this chase at all. Like
Yeah.
there was some cool maneuvers, like he had some 90-degree turns and shit, but I'm like, overall,
Yeah,
what
there-
the fuck am I watching?
Well, see,
like it's like they had like a Vista shot where they just driving behind each other. I'm like, nigga, this is just a car commercial. Get the fuck out of my yo. This is the wackest car chase I've ever seen.
I do like the fact that they played with the audience's expectations because finally James Bond has for the first time in Daniel Craig's tenure a
He's got
gadget
an
car,
Aston Martin.
but the gadgets none of them work, of course. Like that's and that's supposed to be funny and play with the audience's
I get that.
expectations.
Okay,
So-
that's fine.
And I do appreciate that. But like, where's the improvisation? You know what I mean? Like,
I'm pretty sure ramming up behind a dude driving a fucking Yugo 30 miles an hour is pretty good in the improvisation department.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying I need the slide whistle fucking jump, but it just didn't seem like, I don't know. It just wasn't thrilling to me. No matter how hard the score tried to make it thrilling.
Yeah, and I'm like,
that
yo,
score
this is
certainly
that
did try to
score
make
was
it
like
fucking
way
thrilling.
too hype for what was coming on the screen. I'm like, nah, yo, this is you're not doing it for
Now
me
here's
at
a
all.
question. So during this chase, this is very intense chase, he's still able to make a personal phone call to his good friend Moneypenny to pass along some information, or to get some information from her as well, because she's investigating this. So she had a paramour in her apartment
Yeah.
that they don't show on camera, but it looked like it might have been our friend C, possibly.
Yeah, I kind of thought.
Do you think
I kind of
that
thought
it
that.
was?
I don't think so. I remember reading something where in earlier drafts of the script, Tanner was supposed to be the mole, and they just kind of scrapped that. You just got this Moneypenny. I would hate for her to be either a mole or
Well, no, she might not-
smart enough.
Like,
to,
that's what I'm saying. She might not be a mole, just that she might have poor choice, apparently. In that.
Yeah.
The only reason I ask it, too, is because later in the film, when C is talking to M and is like, oh, the Home Secretary decided to dissolve the 007 division, she shoots him like this dagger look that can be implied that she's upset at him for more than just that particular thing.
I wouldn't be surprised if originally it was like that, and at the last minute they just decided to change it, and this is how they kind of edited around it. So the chase scene ends with James Bond shooting fire out of the back of his car, blinding Mr. Hinks, and James Bond ejects from his car, and the car flies into a river. Meanwhile, during this thrilling car chase, like you said, he was so focused on trying to get away from Mr. Hinks that he made a phone call and got intel from Moneypenny. And she informs him that a reference he heard in both Mexico and in the meeting he just left led to Mr. White, a former member of Quantum, which was a subsidiary of Spectre. How convenient. And Bond also asks her to check on the name Franz Oberhauser, revealed to be the name of the meeting's head chairman. So yeah,
Now we're to Austria.
now we are to Austria. We get a quick scene with Q, and Emma's like, "Hey, where's Bond?" And he's like, "Oh, well, he's in Chelsea." Like, yeah, he better be.
Well, and also important to note, they're in Tokyo to vote on the Nine Eyes program, and it requires unanimous vote, but South Africa was a holdout, the only holdout
Yeah,
among this. So Denby was pissed off.
yeah,
I wonder what will happen to South Africa.
yeah,
We shall see.
yeah. I mean, like, not even like a week has gone by. Like,
Yeah.
hey, calm down, C. Jesus Christ. We know what C doesn't stand for. Calm.
No.
Goodness gracious. Bond travels to Austria to find Mr. White, and he finds him dying of some sort of radiation that was in his phone. Because Mr. White was like, he went up to Franz and was like, "Yo, Franz, maybe you need to chill, homie." And Franz was like, "Nope, I will be the author of your pain. And I will poison your phone because you're on your phone all the time." So we get a scene of the two of them talking, Mr. White and Bond. And I mean, Mr. White was unrecognizable to me. I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" Like, that's not, I had to question whether or not it was the same actor. But so Bond and Mr. White are talking.
I always knew death would wear a familiar face, but not yours. So watch over this pleasure, Mr. Bond.
I was at a meeting recently, and your name came up.
Oh, flattered London are still talking about it.
It wasn't MI6. It was Rome. Your team, not mine.
Ah. Last month, I found thallium in my cell phone. It's done its job. I have a few weeks, maybe less. So, here we are, Mr. Bond. Two dead men enjoying the evening.
What did you do?
I disobeyed him. I followed him as far as I could. He changed.
Oh, I see. You grew a conscience.
Our game is our game. This, women, children.
Well, the thallium would suggest that he doesn't like you very much anymore. And clearly the feeling is mutual. So why don't you tell me how to find him again?
Oh, come on.
Tell me where he is.
He's everywhere. Everywhere. He's sitting at your desk, he's kissing your lover, he's eating supper with your family.
You're protecting someone. Your wife.
She left long ago.
Your son. Your daughter.
You won't find her. She's clever. She's smarter than me. She knows how to hide.
I can protect her if you tell me where he is. I can keep her alive.
Yeah.
You have my word.
Your word? The word of an assassin?
And during the interrogation, Bond finds out that Mr. White has a daughter named Madeline Swan. Dr. Madeline Swan. What do you think of that name? It's not too terrible.
No. It's very Bondish, though.
It's very Bondish. Terrence and I know, and I think you do too. We know a person whose last name is Swan. It's like, huh.
That's an interesting last name.
Yeah. Like, what are the roots of that last name? You know, like if your last name was Smith, someone in your ancestry was probably a blacksmith. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is Swan?
Belly dancer.
That's the obvious choice.
Yeah.
But I have no idea. I didn't even know the woman's name. I didn't care.
Yeah, there you go. Madeline Swan. So, and he's trying to protect her from the organization, from Spectre. Bond promises to protect her before Mr. White tells him that his daughter can lead her to l'Americaine, and which will in turn lead them to Spectre. Then Mr. White kills himself. And I mean, it's just a weird choice of last words. So long. Hey, really? Okay, you're gonna end on so long. All right. I mean, I've never been at my wit's end to the point where I would want to kill myself, but I gotta imagine that I wouldn't say so long. I don't know.
Yeah, this was another one of those scenes where I was just like, yo, this is going on way too long. Like, I get this exposition, but I'm like, yo, wrap it up. Please. Like, we're like 45 minutes into the movie or whatever. And there's still another hour and 30 minutes left or whatever the fuck. I was like, yo. Well, I didn't know that at the time when I went to see the movie, but then I saw the actual length this morning. I'm like, yo, I don't know if I want to watch this. Like, it was that long. It was, I don't know, man. It just did nothing for me. Nothing at all. Like, is it just the pacing of the movie that's the problem? It's so slow and boring. Like, even when the interspersed, I like the best action sequence, I guess, is coming up on the train. But then what happens after that? I'm like,
not yet.
What the fuck?
Yeah, train's still a ways away. We got a big action sequence before that.
Oh, right, that's right. I forgot about this one. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's how everything just runs together in this fucking movie.
So Bond finds Swan at a secluded
at a health clinic on a mountain.
Yeah,
what?
I mean, come on, yeah.
So this is just for like rich assholes.
This is a callback
to what?
On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Where the movie mainly took place at a health clinic on like the Swiss Alps, basically.
It's an underrated Bond movie. You should watch it.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to do that. Because if it's anything like this, no.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the first one that I would recommend that you watch.
And what year did that one come out?
69.
I see that shit.
So we got to get Terrence on to Goldfinger. Like that way you get the full James Bond experience. You get some good action.
Would you want
some memorable characters? The rapiness is there.
Would you want him to do Goldfinger, or would you want him to do From Russia with Love?
Goldfinger's more palatable for the average person, I think.
All right. Yeah. But then From Russia with Love. Like once you I guess you're right. We got to ease you into it. You can't just. You got to put the tip in with Goldfinger. And then you can't just fucking slam it home with From Russia with Love.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So Bond finds Swan at a Austrian clinic on top of a mountain where she works, but she is snatched up. She's yoked up by Mr. Hinks. So the two of them have this little back and forth with one another.
James Bond does the James Bond thing where he takes 3 minutes to tell the person the information that he wants to deliver.
Yeah. I don't. What did you think of these two together? Like their chemistry. Their chemistry didn't seem to work with me.
Not at first. It certainly didn't. I think it got better as the film went on.
To the point where she's like, "I love you."
Yeah, that was a little out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So was the time that when they had the sexful time.
Yeah.
Together was kind of out of nowhere.
I mean, I'm not super surprised by that. I'm a little surprised because she is the good Bond girl, and they tend to hold out just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But nah. Leia Seydoux was like, "Nope, we gonna do this. We gonna do this." So yeah, they have
again like time frames here between when they first meet and then when she says "I love you." What the fuck?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
It's a couple days.
They're like, no, that shit don't happen like that. Like, I'm sorry.
Like it was a little too fast even for a James Bond.
Yeah.
Usually they never say "I love you, James Bond," and then if they do, like once they do succumb. Because only one person
eventually.
Only one person ever told her told him they loved him, and he married her.
Yeah,
and then she
died in a drive-by.
What the fuck is Compton?
That was on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah.
Wow.
Said the movie that this film most closely resembles, pretty much, actually.
Yeah. So Mr. Hinks comes up.
Oh no! But before we even, so when he sees that she's being taken, as this is happening, security is going to kick him out because she tells him, she's like, "Get out!" She's like, "I don't want to see you. Like, I don't trust you. My father was an asshole. This, that, or the other." So he sees him leave, but then security guard's like, "All right, time to go," and he punches the one, and then he kicks the other one, and then the other one goes to make him. He's like, "Don't stay," and then rolls out, and that dude just dude, I fucking cracked up laughing at that shit. I forgot that line was in there, and that shit was fucking hilarious.
Oh shit!
Which is true because no fucking rent-a-cop's gonna step to James Bond.
Yeah, he's just like, get the fuck out of here. I just saw you break that guy's arm. Yeah, I'm good, bro. I can never be a security guard again, man. Just as soon as some real shit happens, nah. This ain't fucking catching somebody trying to skip out on a bill. This guy's killing people, and he has a license to do it. Like, what the fuck? So Q is there. Q was like, "Look, you gotta come back, man. Like, I got cats to feed and shit. Like this is you hemming me up, yo." And
Moneypenny too.
Yeah, and what about Moneypenny, man? Like, it's not often that we get black chicks working at our establishment.
Because as we saw right before this, apparently C is also keeping tabs on James Bond as well, and he reveals this to M by playing back a recording of a supposedly secure phone conversation that he and Moneypenny had earlier in the movie. Although
it does leave a little bit of credence to your C is her lover theory. So we see that Mr. Hinks has kidnapped Swan, Miss Swan, and she is being taken down the mountain, right? And Batista's got this fucking badass gun, with double barrels, like a double barrel pistol that shoots 45 caliber rounds or some shit. Like, it's fucking awesome, right? And James Bond is like, "Oh man, I gotta give chase. What is the least practical mode of conveyance that I could possibly get?" And it's a fucking plane. Yeah. Because, one, he's James Bond. One of the things about James Bond you will notice is that James Bond, while having a license to kill,
operate any vehicle,
he has a license to operate any vehicle ever. So he just knows how to fly a plane.
He flew a cargo plane 2 movies ago. This is nothing. Like, this is just a small, personal plane. It's easy. And you saw him doing fucking loops and shit with a helicopter earlier in the movie. There's no qualm about this whatsoever.
So what did you care for this action sequence of this chase? This chase of, it has to be something at least unique, right? Like the good guy is chasing the bad guy with a fucking plane.
In the theater, I swear to God, I don't remember the shit. Did I fall asleep this morning? I think I may have fallen asleep. Yeah, I don't remember the chase scene. I don't even remember it.
I mean,
I remember it from 2 or 3 years ago, but vaguely.
It is impressive how accurately James Bond is able to steer a plane on the ground with no wings.
You talk about threading a needle.
I do remember the wings getting clipped off, and he was sliding down a mountain. Shit.
Goes through a barn. Yeah. Nice sound design for that moment, by the way. Just the pristine silence before he fucking shoots through the fucking side of a barn and takes out one of the trucks in this little convoy they have going.
I'll give it an A for how unique it is.
All right,
but at that time, I just was like, "Yo, these niggas was bugging." Really? Okay. I mean, that's a cool action sequence from what I remember.
They have a nice moment where Mr. Hinks advocates for seatbelt safety because if the car crashes, he goes flying through the windshield, doesn't die, but he's injured, he's hurt.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna have some sort of big ass deformity the next time he said, "No, he's just fucking Batista."
He's good.
My dad was in an accident once. His head went through a windshield, and now he's got a big ass Devon Dudley scar on his face. You could have gave me a Devon Dudley scar. You could have called it a Devon Dudley scar. It would have, given you more things to say other than shit.
And a nice callback for all the wrestling fans.
Exactly, exactly. So Bond eventually catches up and he saves Swan, and Swan is like, "Fuck you! I don't need no man." It's like, "You wait till you get this dick, and you will change your mind." And the two of them meet with Q. Q, who had his own little nerdy action moment. Being chased. How did he get away from those two guys?
He waited until like a big
bunch
group
of people
came on the cable car, and then he bolted suddenly, and then like dipped off down a stairwell, basically.
And then those two fucking people who apparently just don't get paid enough to run, just let them go.
No, they chased everyone because the stairwell that he dipped down was around a corner, and they didn't see him turn the corner, so they just ran right by it, basically.
So Q uses his magical technology to analyze.
How the fuck does he have like a fucking a USB mineral scanner just with him to use with his laptop?
And he's able to put the ring on this thing, and it contains
DNA from it. Like what the fuck? This is the least secure fucking secret organization ever. Like, hey, I'm going to give you guys your special decoder rings, but I need a piece of DNA from you that we put into each one, just so that in case anyone has a mineral scanner, they can identify all of us easily.
Really? So because he's like adjacent to fucking James Bond, because he's James Bond.
Yeah,
he's got a fucking mineral scanner in his pocket that he pulls out to just scan fucking stalactites and shit at work. Like what? Whatever, man. Like, okay, all right, fine.
Doesn't
everything
his
is
computer
convenient.
screen also even have like the Spectre logo, and each of like the subsidiaries are like laid out?
Yeah. Each like Lashif was a leg, Silver was a leg.
Oh my god,
Quantum was a leg.
Looks like the HR flowchart at work, basically. Just the branded logo in the background.
It was a great movie, guys. This is amazing.
Hey, I'm having fun. Swan then informs the two of them that the name of the organization is Spectre, and that L'American that they are seeking is the name of a hotel. So
Tangiers.
Yeah, in Tangier.
It's a repeat visitation for James Bond in Tangiers.
Yeah.
Living Daylights.
Yeah.
Also took place there.
I also, no bullshit, have a family member whose name is Tangier.
That's very unfortunate for them.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. After the show, I will show you that her name is Tangier.
I mean, in fairness, she might have been named after the casino, for all we know.
Yeah, I doubt it.
The fictional casino from fucking Casino.
I think
highly unlikely.
I think that she was probably named after a tangerine. I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing. No bullshit.
Let's make this fancy.
My mother was like, "Oh yeah, that's your cousin Tangier." I'm like, what? Like, yeah, Tangier. You remember her? No, I don't.
I don't really at all. Nah.
So the couple, so Bond and Swan go to the American in Morocco, a hotel that her father used to stay at every year. And Swan cannot hold her liquor, right? Like she's drinking like wine coolers and getting fucked up.
Maybe those like fucking black sewage protein shakes from the fucking health clinic that they tried to serve James Bond.
Yeah, he was just
Can we also point out that fucking idiot going to a fucking health clinic bar and is like, give me that vodka martini, and they're like, we don't have alcohol here.
This is a health clinic. This is a minute clinic, man. Hey, get the fuck out of here. This is a Dwayne Reed. Like, what are we doing with no? Dummy? I like how he was just like, you know what? Do me a favor and throw that in the toilet and just skip the middleman. Swan is all fucked up, and she's being coy, right? She's like, hey, you know, don't think that you can just come over here and have your way with me just because I'm drunk, because I'll kill you. And it's like, all right, bitch. Like, if I wanted to, I could. I just don't like fucking drunk broads. Like, all right. So Bond is Bond does what I thought he was going to do that would make me love him forever, which is shoot a rat. Like, there was a rat, and he was like, what the fuck are you looking at, bitch? And I thought he was going to blow that fucking rat away. But he sees the rat go into a mouse hole, and he pulls one out for his homies and realizes that, oh shit, like the homies are all apparently gathered in this mouse hole. So he punches through a wall because that's what James Bond does, right? Like he's especially this particular James Bond.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
This particular James Bond.
Drywall is no match.
Yeah, this guy's a fucking brute, man. He's just like, I think there's something in here. Bam! Just punches through that shit. And they find a room full of files and videotapes and charts and photos and map coordinates, and they use all those clues to decipher where to go next, right? So they travel by train to the nearest place that they can go. I don't remember if it was said, where they are, but they're on this train, right? And I guess they're having a better time together. Like, this is where I guess the relationship building, I guess, happened.
But you also know that if James Bond is on a train, he's going to have to fight somebody.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And somebody's going to have to get thrown off. Like, it's a fucking rule. You just have to do it. Bond is sitting with Swan, who's like, okay, this is a gun. This is the business end. This is the back end. This is the trigger. Squeeze, don't pull. And then she's just like, give me this shit. Bam! Like, oh, well, I guess you know how to work a gun then. It's like, yeah, I just don't like them. Like, my dad was a goddamn spy. He was an assassin. You think I don't know how to handle a gun? Dummy? Like, sisters are doing it for themselves. And she's like, and he's like, oh, I guess I don't have to teach you the hand-to-hand portion, huh, little lady? Like, shut up, yo. Like, he's such a, James Bond is still, I hope whoever is the next James Bond after him, I hope they never change his character. It's just this old-fashioned fucking misogynist asshole, and I love it. So they're on this train, right?
Speaking of love it.
Yeah, yeah.
We dust off the fucking Goldfinger tuxedo.
Yeah, man. It is.
I'm here for it.
He looks good in it, man. It suits him well. It suits him well. So they have they're having dinner or whatever, right? And they're talking, they're going back and forth, and they have a cloche sitting on the table. And all of a sudden, like, Bond just looks at the cloche and he sees Mr. Hinks in the reflection. And Mr. Hinks, instead of like punching James Bond, kicks the table over. Like, I probably would have saved that kick for James Bond's head if it was me. But, I'm not here to look. I don't tell Batista how to do a power bomb. He doesn't tell me how to podcast. So it's fine. The two of them fight, and Daniel Craig is getting his ass whooped.
As he should. He is fucking outsized and everything else.
Yeah,
he has to fight smart. He can't match brute strength,
which is something that Daniel Craig Bond does not know how to do.
I was about to say he failed miserably. If he had to fight smart,
I mean, he did. He moved out of the way enough times. He can punch something hard.
He started picking shit up like you're supposed to when you got a bigger than you. Like,
he also got punched in the face a lot.
Yeah. A lot.
And knee in the stomach, yeah.
Everything through the fucking train. I'm like,
he set him on fire and it didn't do anything. Like, so yeah, this fight is I'm kind of glad to see Daniel Craig's James Bond be put in his place a little bit in a physical contest, because it's something that you don't usually see, not without him being like impaired by some strange reason. And it got to the point where Daniel Craig was throwing pots and pans at him and shit. And he was just like, get the shit out of my face. And all of a sudden Swan comes in and starts shooting Mr. Hinks. And eventually The two of them get Hinks, wrapped up in some sort of cable with like.
Well, he's choking him with a rope.
Yeah, he's choking him with a rope because Mr. Hinks is about to fucking assault Swan, and eventually they knock this anchor off that was holding the rope, and Hinks gets thrown out of the train, but not before saying the one and only line that he is given in this movie: "Shit."
There's a lot of shits in this movie.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
Yeah.
They killed him this way for a very obvious reason. Because the rumor is he'll be back for Bond 25. Even though I'm pretty sure if you get fucking dragged out of a train by your neck, you are also going to die.
You're going to die instantly.
But he died off screen, he
just got yanked out of a train, doing God knows what speed, and he had a rope around his neck,
right?
And it was like kegs.
I mean, he was essentially lynched,
pretty much. So I don't see.
Well, that's the power of whiteness. You see, when black people get lynched, we die. When white people get lynched,
Terrence, I have to point out this is the same film series that saw a henchman of similar build and size literally fall out of a plane and land in a circus tent and just get off and just brush the dirt off his shoulder. And later in that same film, that same henchman is going to be coming in a space capsule from outer space down to Earth and is given nary a pass. He'll be fine. It's all good.
He'll be all right.
They'll be all right.
What?
Yeah.
Continue. Wait a minute. In the same movie, he fell from a plane and a space capsule.
Yes.
What movie was this?
Moonraker.
Yes.
The best one.
Or as Jay would say, Moonraker, James Bond in space. Yep.
We were talking about The Big Show. Terrence, Jay, and I, we were talking about The Big Show once. And how we had seen a picture of the Big Show's wife, and Jay posted a picture of it, and he was like, "How?" Well, I don't know if you remember, Jay, but in Moonraker, Jaws finds the love of his life, and Jaws is about 7'3" or some ridiculous shit like that, and this woman's a solid 4'5". Like she is a small individual. How? So
that's a weird thing. I mean, yeah, you're super tall, but like you go for like the shortest chick you can possibly find.
Yeah.
So, but again, the point is, Hink's coming back. Hink's coming back. One of the more least implausible villain survivals of James Bond.
Yeah. So, what do you
Before
do?
you continue, because you talked about the Marvel movies.
Yes, I did.
Being the Call of Duty
yes.
of the movie universe.
Listen, I never said that the James Bond films weren't. I never pretended
you
the
got
James Bond
niggas
movies
falling
don't
out
have
of fucking space capsules and shit.
Yes,
and surviving.
And to retort, you are a huge fan of the Fast series of movies, are you not? Yes.
I am, but I thought there was a little bit more believability in fucking James Bond movies.
Okay. No.
In the James Bond movies. Like, I expect shenanigans in those movies because they defy the laws of physics and everything. I didn't expect that in this because I thought this was supposed to be more grounded in reality.
You expect that in a series that prides itself on having watches that shoot lasers?
I thought it was like future tech type shit.
No, this ain't a Bourne movie. This is James Bond.
This is fucking ridiculous to me. It's not what I expected, and they don't even do it.
I would argue that Mission Impossible is closer grounded to reality than a James Bond film would be.
I mean, he is doing that shit practically.
Yeah,
but still, they don't do it very well in this movie. I just don't like it.
Well, see, that's actually a fair point because, to be fair, in this Bond series of films, like the Daniel Craig movies, they're trying to straddle the line a little bit more.
Yeah.
They're trying not to have it be James Bond in space. So that might be because they can't pick a lane. Maybe
they know what the fuck they're doing. They didn't.
You got to commit. You either got to be Casino Royale or you got to be any Roger Moore movie. You gotta commit. So what happens? What I don't know about you guys, but
nothing gets the hormones raging.
Nothing gets me more
killed.
turgid than lynching a man out of a train.
Well, see, this part I didn't mind because in Speed, where they say at the end of the Speed,
that's true.
Yeah,
I was like, you know what,
point.
whatever, fine.
So look, they take this opportunity to have a sexiful time together in the train because the train just keeps moving. Like nobody stops for anything. Like,
yeah, where the fuck were the rest of the people on the train? Like he got thrown through like a quarter of the train.
Yeah,
and nobody was there. Were they all asleep?
I mean, we got a schedule to keep, man. We got to hurry up and get to this nondescript location in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, in the middle of fucking nowhere.
So
weird ass.
They get dropped off the next morning, and they are transported to a facility in some random ass desert, where they are met and held prisoner by Bond, or they are met by who Bond thinks is Franz Oberhauser, son of Hans Oberhauser. Hans Oberhauser was James Bond's temporary foster father when his parents died in that climbing accident. Well, it turns out that Hans Oberhauser, the foster father, was also murdered.
And supposedly so is his son.
Yeah, and supposedly so was his son, who I guess would be like James Bond's stepbrother. Foster brother. Because
I didn't need that subplot.
I didn't need it either because it felt incredibly contrived, and it's like, well, this time it's personal.
Like it could have just literally been, man, you seem to keep really fucking up my plans and my secret organization. So now I'm going to come get you. Like you could have just done that.
Yeah, it didn't have to have a personal tie to it because we don't get that there's a personal tie because there was no hint of that to begin with. It was like an Uncharted. All of a sudden, Drake has a brother. What?
Don't you think?
Well, James, it looks like you're all alone.
Not much more than a voyeur, are you? Too scared to join in?
I don't think you quite understand.
Oh, I think I do. You set cities on fire and watch innocent people burn, so you can convince governments to join an intelligence network you paid for. Not that complicated. I'm guessing our little friend C, he's one of your disciples.
You could say that.
What does he get out of it?
Nothing. He's a visionary like me.
Visionaries. Psychiatric wards are full of them.
Whereas you couldn't see what's right in front of you. You came across me so many times, and yet you never saw me. Le Chiffre, Green, Silva.
All dead.
That's right. A nice pattern developed. You interfered in my world, I destroyed yours. Or did you think it was coincidence that all the women in your life ended up dead? Vesper Lind, for example. She was the big one. Has he told you about her? And then, of course, your beloved M, gone forever.
Me. It was all me, James. It's always been me, the author of all your pain. You're a brave woman, my dear.
Now I understand why my father lost his mind.
He didn't lose his mind, he was just weak. But at least he understood what he was up against. You see, they failed to comprehend the crucial fact that a terrible event can lead to something wonderful. Since you mentioned your father, I'll show you.
She's clever. She's smarter than me. She knows how to hide.
I can protect her if you tell me where he is. I can keep her alive.
Yeah.
You have my word. No, turn this off.
Your word? The word of an assassin.
Turn this off.
This is important.
I said turn it off!
I want you to understand something.
That's my word. Madeline, look at me. Don't look at him, Madeline. Look at me.
America. You save her. She can lead you to America. She knows America. Try the Hoffler Clinic. You're a kite dancing in a hurricane, Mr. Bond. So long.
The things that bring people together. Out of horror, beauty.
So I don't remember who it was, but somebody made the point that I was mortified to realize was true about this movie. So of course, the Austin Powers films were inspired by the James Bond series.
Mm-hmm.
This was arguably inspired by fucking Austin Powers when it turns out that Austin Powers and Dr. Evil were actually brothers.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oof.
That's not something you want.
No, it is not. You don't want to take your cues from Mike Myers comedies, particularly when you're trying to be a serious movie.
Are they trying to be a serious movie?
I mean, they're trying.
Yes, trying to be.
Hashtag Terrence was right.
So Christoph Waltz.
He landed in a fucking couch when a building collapsed in the beginning of the movie.
That's very Bondian, though.
I don't like it either.
He does just because it's very Roger Moore Bondian. So
whatever.
So Christoph Waltz's character is walking him through this facility, and he's just like, "Look at all this shit! Like I am awesome, and look at all this, and I am everywhere, and I am a super genius." And he goes and he's like, "Hey, Dr. Swan, did you know that James Bond was there when your dad shot himself? He gave him the gun." It was like, check this shit out.
I mean, she did. He told her.
Yeah, he told her. I was like, why is he?
It's not new information.
Yeah, why is he like? And then Bond is like, turn that off, God damn it! I'm like, she already knows, bro.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he wanted her to see it. It's one thing to see it.
I mean, I guess so, but I guess so.
Like you said, exposition.
Yeah,
like just a lot of exposition.
This whole
this is the "it was me, the author of all your pain" speech.
Yeah,
that again is not.
That is a stupid line.
It's a huge jump to go from.
Isn't that a fucking tag team?
The authors of pain. Yes, it is a tag team. It is a large jump to go from "I'm really mad that you bonded more with my daddy than I did" to "I want to become a super like megalomaniacal super genius."
Yeah,
that runs this high tech criminal organization because I'm mad at this. I don't see the direct line between those two things.
Fucking parents, please love your kids, man. Like just spend time with them, man. Like look, they're gonna want to talk about shit that you already know about, and they're gonna want to do shit that you don't want to do. But here's the thing, man. Like if you monitor that shit by spending time with them, you can prevent shit like this from happening. I am the author of all your pain, James. Like, I don't like that line. And they say it all the time because it was used in the trailer, and it just is. One, like you weren't the author of all your pain, of all his pain. Like you found out that you were the author of all his pain when you started writing this movie. It just wasn't. I don't know. It irked me a little bit. So Bond is taken to a some sort of laboratory where he's strapped in. Now, I forget what the purpose of drilling into your neck was. Do you remember what that was?
Well, the first time was just to cause lots of pain.
Mm-hmm.
And
right
then
here.
The second one was so that, because apparently like where he was drilling was like where your like memory cortex was or something along those lines,
Oh,
so that he would forget, who people were and things of that nature.
Oh, okay.
So just him being a dick.
Yeah, all
basically.
right. Just being an asshole. I get it. At this point, Dr. Swan is like, "No, I love you." Like, huh? You do, huh?
Okay.
And Christoph Waltz's character is like, "Don't worry, honey, he won't remember you." And he
By the way,
goes up.
Do you like how Blofeld here? So like James Bond does what, especially Daniel Craig's James Bond does, is tries to get under people's skin to fluster them.
Yeah.
And he just brushes it all off. Like, do you like that character quirk?
I do like that, because it's like that's the, that's like, your shit doesn't affect me. Like, your batarang just bounced off me.
Yeah.
Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, that shit doesn't work. So he comes up and we get the big, the big reveal, right? Like he comes up and he's like, "My daddy loved you more than he loved me, so I took my mom's name, and my name is Ernst Stavro Blofeld." Dan, dan, dan. And then the people like Terrence are just like,
okay,
who the fuck is that?
All right, that's fine.
It was, I can see people having a serious issue with that, because it doesn't, everybody knew it, right?
Well, and like we said, it's the same issue that people had when Star Trek Into Darkness. My name is Khan, and it's for the audience.
Yeah,
I don't mind that. But again, you can have that kind of stuff in there.
I guess so. Audience. It just felt needless. Like it felt like a needless reveal. Like fuck it. Like let him be Blofeld from the beginning.
And to be fair, like Bond played it off. He's like, "Oh, it's catchy." Like he didn't pay it any mind. I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're not." No, he was just like, "Oh, whatever."
Because he's supposed to,
right?
Because it's like, who the fuck is that? Like, who are you? All right, whatever. Ernst goes to camp. I love those fucking movies, right? Like get the fuck out of here. So Bond is Blofeld is like, all right, I'm gonna fucking drill the other side of your head. I just need a couple minutes though to set it up, right? So this gives Dr. Swan enough time to be like, "No, I love you," and Blofeld is like, "Oh, does he recognize you?" "Yeah, I'd be surprised if he did, because the thing that I did, he's not gonna recognize you." And Bond is like, "I'd recognize you anywhere." Like, what? All right.
Again,
that was more of a Micah line than a James Bond line. You know what I mean? Like that's
and the
not very
dialogue
smooth.
was not very good. I would argue throughout the entire movie, but
so
whatever.
Bond has a watch that was given to him by Q, and he takes it off. His hands were like shackled.
But they were shackled next to each other, like around the back, so Blofeld couldn't see.
Can you take your watch off with your hands wrapped around your back?
Yes, with a NATO strap, absolutely. That's the whole with the whole. Hang on, like I can't reach my hand. No, but it's literally right here.
Like, but he's got his hand strapped, so like.
But they were right next to each other. Like I can't get my hands around far enough in the chair here.
Yeah, well, so and James Bond sitting in a chair.
No, if I'm like this, yes, I can absolutely get a NATO
like
strap
that,
off.
but behind your back.
I'm sure if James Bond was like this, he would be able to get it off. But no, that's fine. He got it. He got it out. He was able to fucking fiddle with it, and he gave it to Swan, and Swan said, "Look, this shit is gonna go off in a minute, right?" And Bond says something, and Blofeld was like, "What was that? What was that? Huh? What? Loser says what?" And Bond was like, "Time flies."
And then she slid it across the floor. Like,
right.
Bitch, you're supposed to throw it. Get the fuck out of here. Yo, you failed.
I did enjoy though when she slid the watch across. Blofeld's like, "What is that?" Before it like explodes in his face.
That was very upsetting. I was like, yo, like you just fucked that whole goddamn speech up. Like you're supposed to throw it at him.
Oh shit!
Not slide it like a hockey puck.
So, so she slid the watch. The watch blows up. It gives them enough distraction to get for Bond to get out of his chair.
Wait. When it blew up, everything just shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like the whole chair just was like, I'm out now.
Yeah.
It unrestrained him.
Yeah.
Did the power shut down?
I'm willing to believe that there's a safety feature that when the power, when the explosion
went
fucked it
off,
up,
and then it okay.
Yeah, don't
all right.
check
I mean, you know, you got to have a little bit of suspension of
Safeguard,
disbelief. Yeah. I'm sure if this studio were to blow up, the doors would open, right?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
You go ahead and take that.
They shoot their way out of there, and
he really does.
I mean,
he
like,
literally shoots his way out. One shot, one kill for everybody.
Yeah, man.
While everybody else is shooting at him, this thing ain't got armor on.
Right, he's just walking.
He's just walking through bullets.
Fucking KDR ratio is like 5 to 1. And
because he's James Bond.
Because he's James Bond, man.
Like he was literally walking at one point through bullets. Like you have no sense of urgency at all. There are people shooting at you from all angles.
Well, you see, his balance was thrown off by the first drill hole that happened. So that's why he couldn't run, but he could still aim and shoot accurately with these submachine guns that the guys were carrying around.
So they get to a perfectly framed area of just outside of the like little desert base, and they look over and everything blows up in symmetrical order.
Yeah, he shoots like a canister, and it just blows the entire fucking facility up.
Yeah,
and they're like 20 feet away from it,
and he timed it. He timed it. He timed the shooting of that canister and him waltzing up to the vantage point so that they could take the perfect fucking selfie for when that shit blows up. And he's like, all right.
It's again, I'm only convinced that this explosion was so massive because they looked at the explosion that they did in Skyfall of the house, which was enormous. And they're just like, we have to top it.
We got
it. We have to top it. So you just see this like fucking curtain of black smoke coming up from this fucking thing. It's a huge explosion. Now if they had hopped in the helicopter, flown back to London, done a scene where, you know, C comes up to the office and M's already there and shuts down the network and you know, happy day, everything's done. I think it's a much better movie.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be fine. It would have been fine,
agree.
but like this last 35 or 40 minutes,
it's too much and it's overkill.
Yeah.
It's absolutely overkill.
There's literally another half an hour to go.
Yeah, like you resolved the movie and then you're like, and then you Metal Geared it. You're like, hey, let's introduce a new thing and resolve that too before we're done.
We didn't get to see Blofeld with the scar.
That's true.
That's why
That's true.
extra half an hour is tacked on, because we didn't get to see Blofeld with the scar. So, like you said, they meet up with Tanner, M, Q, and Moneypenny. They arrest C. M is like, well, I guess we know what the C stands for. Careless.
Yeah, because he was going to shoot him. And I'm like, yo, that's fucking corny.
So they keep going.
Well, to be fair, C's line right before that wasn't very good either, because he pulls the gun. He's like, I guess we know what M stands for, moron. And then he clicks the gun.
Again,
like,
dialogue.
Right.
I don't mind that dude being a fucking square, though. Because like I said, he's a smarmy evil bastard. He shouldn't be clever. He should be unliked.
Okay.
So we everything is hunky dory, right? And they're driving off, and all of a sudden, bam! James Bond's car gets rammed, and he is abducted. The abductors don't shoot M for some strange
Well, we're going a
reason.
little out of order. So they're planning to go arrest C, and then this
that's
happens.
right.
They capture Bond. They throw him into the back of this like cage in this truck that they have.
Yeah.
And then they go back to get M, but he dipped out
Yeah,
while they were doing their thing.
That's
and then
right.
he eventually meets up with Q and Moneypenny and Tanner, and they go to confront C while Bond is taken to the old MI6 building that is wired for demolition.
Yes. And it's like a cat and mouse game. Blofeld is in the old MI6 building, or he says that Swan is there, or something like that. And,
because they kidnap her because as they're getting ready to go fucking on this mission, she's like I can't go with you. She's like, this isn't the life. This is who you are, but I can't do this anymore. And that guy, she walks off basically.
Yeah. Eventually, Bond meets up with Blofeld,
and they've only known each other for like 4 days.
Yeah, and she's in love.
Yes,
because that's how.
Fine. Okay.
That's how James Bond's penis works. Apparently, he shoots love semen into women, and it's like, I love you. It's like, I know.
I mean, Terrence, James Bond has literally turned lesbian straight with his dick.
Yeah.
So is this what fucking Spike Lee was watching when he did fucking He Hate Me?
So again, getting a woman to fall in love with him after 3 days, the least.
Oh, that's
the most plausible.
He can make women join the other team. Like that's how good he is. So yeah, we meet Blofeld, and then everything else just kind of is a little hazy for me. I remember.
So Blofeld sets a 3-minute timer.
Right.
For the building to melt. And he says, hey, you can either get out of here easily, but then you have to live with her death for the rest of your life, like all the other women.
Okay.
Or you can try to save her and you'll probably die trying, essentially. And so he, of course, goes to try to save her. Blofeld has a nice vantage point from his helicopter to watch this shit happen. This is when they confront C and all that shit happens. C eventually, by the way, dies because as they're marching him out, he takes advantage of the distraction from the helicopter to try to wrestle the gun away from M, but then falls off of a balcony all the way down to the lobby of that fancy office building that they have constructed, and he is super dead.
That's a poor design.
It really is a poor design.
What the fuck? That's really fucking dangerous.
And I like it. Like, I like how I do appreciate how they even took the fact that M was like, "Did the government pay for this?" And C's like, "No, I'm like a private benefactor." Which, of course, try to be a little less auspicious while you're building your fucking secret spy headquarters, guys. Don't do the all glass walls. It's not very subtle. Not very subtle. So Bond finds Madeline in where M's office used to be, because that's where the focal point of the explosion was in Skyfall that caused that to happen in the first place. He remembers that there is a debris net that's at the bottom of the main lobby that they could just jump down the hole and be safe landing, and then he hops in a boat and escapes right before.
Where the fuck did the boat come from?
Oh, they do walk by it, and they do have a because the office is right on the Thames, so they have like a dock.
Yo, when this nigga jumped, it's like, you trust me? And then he jumped in that hole and landed in that net. I'm like, yo, fuck off. Like, really?
And I'm just like, that's really fun.
All the way to the bottom.
Seems like a good time.
So it just blew a hole all the way to the bottom, and he just knew, okay. Right.
It blew a hole all the way to the bottom just before the net.
Right, just before the net. Cool. Because
and then the net conveniently, from the weight of them, supported it, but then it fell off its thing as they were able to
and then they go into a basement and get into a boat as the fucking building explodes.
Yes.
I don't like anything about this last section. I really don't.
I will give you the part that's the most egregious. So as Bond is escaping, Blofeld is in his helicopter, and Bond is in a boat on the Thames,
shooting at it
with a handgun. So you're like, that's futile as shit.
That's ridiculous.
But so he wastes most of his ammo, but then he stops, really focuses,
goes in the fucking bullet time.
activates fucking
eagle vision,
activates the bat system.
And then he hits the engine. I'm like,
hits the fucking engine for the rotor, yeah.
With a handgun.
Yep.
Why not?
Because he's James Bond.
He's James Bond, man.
Yo, this last 20 minutes made me so fucking mad, yo. I was like, I cannot believe what the fuck is going on. I believe a rock through a fucking threw explosives at a plane and shot it with a handgun before he did this shit. Like, a sachet
But
full
Terrence,
of
he
grenades.
really focused on that last
focused
shot. He
really
was like,
hard.
he was like,
It's like the boat's moving, the helicopter's moving, and he perfectly hit the engine.
he had to wait
with
for
a
the
handgun.
moonlight to line up just right to make the shot. And he's like, you know what? Too Parliament's right in the background. Like, there's Big Ben. Like, I gotta get a nice cinematography shot here too,
God.
in case anyone's filming this right now.
So he shoots the plane down with a handgun, people. A handgun. Yeah, that happened.
Yep.
It crashes on a bridge.
It does.
And
Basically reenacting the last scene from SWAT, the 2003.
Jesus
Tour de
Christ.
Force.
you and your fucking LL Cool J movie. Like the fuck? Are you like secretly like a fan of all his movies?
No, I guess
because he
for
was
some
in that.
reason
If
he wasn't in that. You're
he was in
absolutely
that.
correct. Yeah.
So we got Kingdom Come, SWAT. Would you see Deliver Us from Evil as well?
No, I have not seen
Are you
Deliver
sure?
Us
I
from
don't
Evil.
believe you. I think you have.
No, it's really it's actually the SWAT is more
Deep
my
Blue
Jeremy
Sea.
Renner fandom. You know, Jeremy Renner before he was famous. Doing all
Oh my
that.
God.
Oh shit. So Bond, he sees Blofeld crawling, and he's about to fucking shoot him in the head.
Well, like I said, in the lack of subtlety, you literally have the middle of the bridge that they're on, and on one end of the bridge is M, aka his life as a fucking secret agent, and on the other end of the bridge is Madeline, aka his escape from, being this guy that is defined him, and he has a choice to make.
Yeah, it's as binary as Renegade Paragon. You know what I mean? Like it is. It's like, what will you choose? I get it, but yeah, not subtle at all. And so he's about to kill Blofeld, but lets M arrest him, and he leaves with Swan. And the next day, he retrieves his Aston Martin DB5, and he drives off into the sunset with the woman that he has known for
about 4 days.
5 days now,
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's the next
By
day.
the way, pause real quick. So earlier in the film, when he first goes to Q's office, like literally all that's left of the DB5 is like
Is the chef.
chassis and the steering wheel.
Yeah. So within
And
the
somehow
week,
in a week's time,
Someone-
with Q being really
Right, I was
busy,
about to
by
say,
the way,
someone put it back
Q
together.
has had shit to
who
do.
the fuck did it?
Right. Q has had stuff to do, and somehow they prioritize the car of the guy that is. So is he leaving MI6? Like, because Q says, "I thought you'd gone."
Yeah.
I don't know what that. And I'm assuming it's supposed to be purposely ambiguous, but like, what do you think? Like, is he left MI6?
Well,
Is he
now that
taking
we
a
know,
hiatus?
there's going to be a Bond 25 with Daniel Craig.
Yeah,
I
but
have to imagine.
but they could do the On Her Majesty's Secret Service thing where like they're
Yeah,
together
they
at the
could.
beginning of the film, and then she gets killed by Blofeld somehow, and then he goes on, the revenge story.
I mean, using women as props like that to kill off people, like, it doesn't work if there isn't some sort of like long-standing thing there. You know what I mean? Like why Judi Dench's death worked, because there was history. So this woman, like, I can't even remember her fucking first name. I just keep calling her Swan, right? So, and then I hope they don't do that. I hope because I don't want to see Daniel Craig pretend to be sad that, this woman that he loves is dead. But
Well, he never said that he loved her.
No, yeah, you're right.
He's
You're right.
not
He ain't
reciprocated
falling.
that
He
yet.
ain't falling for that bullshit.
I said his thought is she's like, I love you. He's like, that's cool. Too soon for me. We just met.
I love that you feel that way. So yeah, they drive off together, and that's the end of Spectre. So, again, I watched. This is like the second or third time I've seen it. It's not that bad.
It is firmly in the middle of the rankings in my eyes.
Yeah, it's
not top 10.
Certainly not.
It's not top 10. But it's not bottom 5 either.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination.
No, not at all. Any feelings change, Terrence?
Nah, the pacing was terrible. I didn't like the dialogue. Again, it was pretty to look at, but that's it. That's it. Like the action sequences were all right. Nah, man. Like I just do not like this film. I don't. Like I really don't.
Listen,
and I don't. Like I was mad when I left the movie theater. Like I really was. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? What was that? Like there was just so much random shit happening. Like that last 30 minutes, like you said, awful.
It didn't need to be there. It didn't need to be there, honestly. And like Micah said, the only reason it is just so you can see Blofeld with the scar. Like that's the only reason it's there. So.
And he just knew that he was gonna find him in the building behind the glass.
I mean, he did draw like arrows and shit.
Yeah, I'm like, yo, what kind of funhouse bullshit is this? Like
you gotta love that shit, by the way. Like he went right from Morocco with his fucked up eye, and they're like, what are we gonna do now? He's like, we have to go to London, we have to go to the MI6 building, and we have to fucking Saw Funhouse this shit up for James Bond.
I guess it's so. What?
Go get file photos of M and other people that he's killed that we can put in these cells.
I think it's just so stupid.
Too much effort went into that.
A little too much.
A little too much effort went into that.
A little bit.
We have to construct this bulletproof glass thing between me and James Bond so that when he walks into this room.
Right. How about you look for an eye patch first? Because that shit is gross. Brad, Terrence. I will first go with Brad, and then I don't think Terrence would care. But I will first go with Brad and say we have come to the current end of the Daniel Craig era. What are your feelings on Daniel Craig as James Bond?
It is cool to have. He is the most similar to the literary version of James Bond. He is the gentleman spy that is doing it for Queen and Country, but doesn't like he's doing it despite, like he's the, fucking cold-blooded murderer as a filthy business guy, basically. And he's the brutish gentleman.
Yeah.
Which is more akin to what's in the novels. In the novels, he is not like a suave fucking dude. Like he's got a kind of fucked up nose and, he still acts the part. He still dresses fancy and, knows the gentleman things, but he's not fucking Sean Connery. I can tell you that in the novels. So this is the closest thing we get. I like his James Bond. I like how different it feels from the other James Bond, and he's also served by the fact that his movies, until we get to this one, are a little bit more grounded in the world that we live in.
Yeah. Until we get to this one. Yeah. I echo those sentiments. I feel like Daniel Craig has carved out his James Bond. No one will mistake him for trying to be like another James Bond, and they won't mistake his James Bond for being what most of the people think James Bond is supposed to be. I feel like most people think James Bond is supposed to be either Roger Moore or Pierce Brosnan.
No Sean Connery in the mix?
I feel like people hold their reverence of Sean Connery in a separate like area. I'm talking about the masses, the people that don't really know about James Bond. Like the people who are one generation older than us grew up with Roger Moore's James Bond, and we grew up with Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. And I feel like those are the two, especially because look, as much as I bag on Roger Moore, like he was the workhorse. He's the one who helped completely popularize this shit, right? And then I'll always have a soft spot for Pierce Brosnan because, like I said, that was my first James Bond. Yeah. But I feel like if you were going to compare Daniel Craig to one of the other ones, it would be Sean Connery, and that is nothing to slouch at, right? Like if you were going to be compared to another James Bond, you probably want to be compared to Sean Connery's James Bond. I thought he was great, man. Some of his, this Quantum of Solace not, withstanding, I've enjoyed his movies, and I've enjoyed his turn in all of them as James Bond. So I'm looking forward to what is what is in the future. Terrence, what do you think of Daniel Craig as James
You're
Bond?
only James Bond.
Yeah, I mean, if this is what James Bond is, no thanks. I don't want to see it. I don't need to see the rest of them. And it's 24. Nah, I'm all right. I'll be fine not watching it.
Have you seen any of the other ones
Like
from
bits
other
and pieces, and they all look dumb. That's why I never decided to watch them. But I saw I saw him in this, and I decided to give it a try.
I think
the most recent one, I decided to give it a try, and I liked. Was it Casino Royale? What was the one where he was fighting on the crane?
that was Casino Royale.
Casino Royale. Yeah. I enjoyed that one. I liked the last one. This one I did not like at all.
I think you'd like GoldenEye. I do.
I think GoldenEye might.
It might be the easiest one. To
It would be the
gap.
It would be the only one I would recommend. Like if you can't get with that, then there is no hope. And
I've listened to every episode of this show.
Yeah,
I mean,
you'd probably like some of the Pierce Brosnan ones.
Maybe GoldenEye.
Just GoldenEye.
Yeah,
I like the game.
Just GoldenEye.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
Please don't watch any of the other Pierce Brosnan ones. God help you if you do.
What was GoldenEye? What was the
GoldenEye Tomorrow Never Dies with evil Rupert Murdoch. Well, Rupert Murdoch. The World Is Not Enough.
Which one had Halle Berry in it?
That's not another
The
day.
horrible
The one you should never watch. Never watch that film. Never watch it.
Yeah, if GoldenEye doesn't do it, nothing will.
And then wasn't there one with what's that other white chick? What's her name?
Denise Richards. That was World's Not Enough. Don't watch that one either.
Yeah, don't watch that.
It's not good.
You really are not making a good case for this series at all.
Look, we know
not for
what
you.
it is.
Yeah,
not for you.
Not for you. But this is.
We know what this is.
I mean, this is fucking ridiculous. Yeah, just like James Bond when he's approaching a woman. You know what this is. Fucking, you remember that Family Guy cutaway? 50 no's and a yes is still a yes. That's fucking James Bond, yo.
But I'm saying, based on your reaction to Spectre, do not ever watch Die Another Day. If you think this was stupid,
yo,
you have no clue.
Yo, if
you remember that episode, don't you? Like that was the one that made me lose my shit on this movie franchise.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I know what you're probably thinking. Wow, that was the last James Bond movie. That's probably the last episode of The Men with the Golden Tongues.
False.
You would be wrong. Brad, would you like to inform the folks on what we plan on doing?
So what we're going to do with the show now is we're going to do a kind of alternating format where we will do a James Bond themed topic episode, and then the following month review another movie similar to the James Bond films, like the Mission Impossible series, for example, or Austin Powers, which I think kind of has to be done.
I mean, it has to be done.
I mean, and we have to do Never Say Never Again at some point as well, do we not?
Absolutely. We have to do the original Casino Royale.
Yeah. we got to do it, but it's
Jimmy Bond is in it. We got to do it.
But like I said, and then the off episodes we're going to be talking about like a Bond theme thing. The first of which is going to be the next episode, where we are going to rank all of the Bond films from 1 to 24. But we're not going to do it in a normal, boring fucking ranking style. That's lame. We're going to have a tournament of Bonds that we need your help with. So around the time this episode goes up, there's going to be a survey that I will link to in the Nerdpocalypse fan group that you should go click on, and you're going to help us make the initial seeds for the James Bond tournament so that we can pit the Bond films against each other the way they should be, and we will figure out which one is the best James Bond film eventually, even though you probably know what we're going to end up picking.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We'll see.
You never know how the matchups will shake out.
You never know, but I have a feeling
that where the two of us are going to go. But we'll see. But like I said, look out for that survey. We will post it in the Nerdpocalypse Network fan group, or TMP Studios fan group, and you guys can help us make these initial seeds. You will have a third input on it. Micah will have a third input, and I will have a 1/3 input on these initial rankings.
Yep. So excellent, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Tell your friends. and the men with the golden tongues will return.